Nobody gives a damn no more, that's clear. The politically correct are winning this fight. Now the crims and the killers love human rights. Nobody gives a damn no more around here. Nobody wants to play outside no more.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to step outside the front door.
Do it.
So many guns and knives in the neighborhood. The streets run red with teenage blood. Nobody wants to play outside no more. Light up the fuse, it's from page news. They've thrown it all away. Light up the fuse, it's from page news. No matter what they say, they've blown it all away. Nobody gives a damn no more around here. Nobody gives a damn no more, that's clear. The police can't act 'cause their hands have been tied. Now they're just dishing out parking fines. Nobody gives a damn no more around here. Light up the fuse, it's from page news. They've thrown it all away. Light up the fuse, it's from page news. No matter what they say, they've blown it all away. Nobody gives a damn no more around here. Nobody gives a damn no more around here. The politically correct
Hello.
Sam, how'd you get this fucking sound to work? I'm online. I've got 135 people watching me, but no sound.
There we are. Is it on?
Is it on now?
I don't know.
Because I'm about to swear. You put your... Hang on a minute. It's just to see if it's working, folks. Do that. I'm talking to me people now.
It's working.
Oh, I can hear me. I just heard myself swearing. Right. Anyway, sorry about that. I didn't realise there was a delay. I know. Listen, you're online, so I'm going to have to get off. You know, people think that I'm well-spoken, Wirral boy. Thanks, mate. Why wasn't it working? Because I'm an effing idiot, according to my younger son. Anyway, on that note, yeah, bye.
Bye.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, what a joke that was. We start with a bang, don't we? You know, as I say, everything is live here, as you probably gathered. Tell you what, is that you, Lynn? It's your fault.
I've just made it work. Haven't I?
You made, yeah. Well, that's because, yeah.
I got it going for you.
It can't be the musician's fault, and I got no drummer to blame, so it's got to be you.
Always.
Anyway, welcome, folks. I'm sorry for the mime act in the first part of the show. But it wouldn't be a Fennah show if there wasn't some fun and games along the way, usually at my expense. Right, anyway, as I was saying before I got cut off, I want to welcome the 1,000 new subscribers for the channel this month. Getting about 1,000 a month, which is great, you know. Now remember, this whole thing, it's going to last as long as you stay with me. If you start disappearing, then I'll go and have something to eat and watch Star Trek or Dallas, which I've been watching recently, which is great. Right, so it's all about you. Ask me anything you like, anything to do with the music industry. As you know, I've been around the block more than once. 50 years in this whole game, made about 10-12 albums, all great fun. How did I make them? I don't know, just wasn't luck. It was you know, a little bit of everything. If you want to know how I did it, give us a ring. You got any young relatives out there who want to get into the industry? This is their opportunity to fire some questions at me. Again, with musical theatre or theatre in general, how do I turn my script, my wad of paper that I've spent all my life writing, how do I turn that into a show to get on stage and get people to come and watch? How do we do that? We can ask about that as well, because we're not just a one-trick pony, you know. Oh no. You know, we use the guitar to do things with. That's what it's all about. Right, so we can do that. Before I go any further, press the like button, folks, because the more you like things, and assuming you're going to like it, maybe for all the wrong reasons, then it helps the channel and it gets more people watching. So click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, share it to all your mates. Remember, everything on my channel, all the paperwork, everything, I own it. It's mine, and you can do with it. You have my permission to do with it as you want. You send it to whoever you like, I don't care, as long as you play the guitar and have some fun with it. What else have we got? Let's have a quick... oh, and the other thing I must thank you for, all the people who donate via the super thanks. It's very much appreciated, and as I always say, it pays for the copious amounts of tea and coffee that I drink, that my beautiful wife Lynn makes on my behalf, as I think she's down there now preparing another one, because I drank the other one so quickly in panic that this one's gone. All right, so thank you for that. Super thanks, they're all very welcome. It does help the channel as well. If you want to ask any questions and you want to get to the top of the list, then apparently there's a don't understand that's why I'm reading it. There's a super chat button. If you click that and put a donation in, right? It's not a begging thing, it's just the way it is apparently. Then your question will go to the top of the pile. It comes up highlighted with a big red banner, so obviously I see that one first. So you know, that's how you get there. Make sure you ask the question though, don't just click the super thanks. Try and, you know, get a little bit of value for your couple of dollars or £8 or whatever it is, and ask a question, you know. And what else are we going to do? Right, a quick recap on what we did last time. Lynn and I have been in Portugal. We didn't tell anyone because we didn't want the house getting burgled while we were away, but that's where we've been for a couple of weeks. And while we were away, I reposted the Masterclass 4, which was to do with combined riffs and chords. Do you remember that one? What does that mean? Let me see if I can find a click. There's one somewhere around here, bear with me. I'll use my fingers. I'm just using this little wacky guitar for now. The combined riffs and chords were things like this, with a bit of rhythm. Right, so there was that one, Combined Riffs and Chords. That was Masterclass 4 that we did. I did Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds, which my good mate Steve Ward lent me his wonderful, beautiful Rickenbacker 12-string to do that on. So we did that one. That went out all right. Masterclass 5 was Let's Rock, in which I used this guitar again. Again, using combined chords and riffs. You know, so check these out if you've not yet seen them. These are all interesting things. Now, the one that's taken me by surprise, and I've got to be honest, when I was away, I thought, well, before I went, I recorded a couple of tutorials thinking, you know, I was that busy packing my suitcase, I thought, oh, I'll put this one in, maybe they might like it. And I used this wacky little guitar to do it. And I did all right now by free, which is had over 15, or getting on for 15,000 views. By far the most successful one I've done in the last couple of months. So it's weird, isn't it? I didn't think it'd do that much, and yet there it is. It's bang, it's just going, it's flying. It's number 1 in my little list, behind the finger picking one, the Travis picking, which we're going to look at in more detail in a minute. We're going to do all that. Then I did Angie by the Rolling Stones, which is a beautiful track for those people who are old as me and remember it. Angie by the Rolling Stones. Masterclass 7 was the dreaded bar chords. Now I'm going to be looking at bar chords today because I get so many people saying I've got something wrong with my fingers, my hands don't work. Is it because, you know, this, that and the other? Well, it's none of those things, it's just technique. So we're going to go over all that. We're going to look at movable chords today. You know, the cage system, what does that mean? We'll look at the faces of chords again. You know that daft little thing I did, the faces of chords. You know, you don't know what I'm talking about, do you? You will in a minute when I go over it again. How you can remember without getting lost on the fretboard. That's a thing. Everyone gets lost on the fretboard. Now you've got to remember, I can't read a note of music, not one single note. And yet I've done gigs with the Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra. They're playing all my music. The only people on the stage that can't read a note are myself and other members of my band. Well, all the other guys in the dicky bows and all the you know. But you know, there you go. Who wrote the music? It wasn't them. It was us. All right. So we don't need to read as long as you, depending on what you want to do, that is. And I'm also going to show a song. The song that I learned to play my bar chords on was Nowhere Man by the Beatles. I'll show you how I did that, because I nearly got kicked out of my first band because I didn't know my way around the neck. Even though I knew how to do everything, I didn't know where it was on the neck. So if somebody said B flat, I'd go, I had no idea. And that is something that might happen to you as well. But I'm going to show you a dead simple way of remembering that. And scales, are they important? Well, I only know a couple of scales. I might know more in my head, but I only know 2. I know the pentatonic, as everyone should, and the Aeolian scale, which to me is the best scale of the lot, and that's the one everyone uses. So you can use it for minor chord sequences or major chord sequences. And I've got a little sneaky trick on how you know exactly, you know, use the same pattern as in, you know, your left hand. Which fret to position on, depending on whether you're playing in a minor key or a major key. So we're going to look at those sort of things. It's nice to see that I've got 207 people watching us at the moment, which is cool. So let's have a look at some of these lessons. Hi Rob, Junction 39, Wait for the Moment. I love that track. That's from Sticky Fingers. That's a track I did in homage to oh Christ, what's his name? The Shadows, Hank Marvin, the great Hank Marvin. I wrote that thinking Hank would do this really well. So I borrowed a Strat off one of my mates and I did that track. What else have we got? Joshua, let me... is that... Oh, Josh. Yeah, Josh, just for you. That was one that we were doing, wasn't it, Josh? So, sorry, a quick impromptu version of that just for Josh, wonderful young guitar player. Okay, what else have we got? So it's come out of hospital. Oh dear. Never mind. You know, tell you what, a lot of people not feeling too well at the moment, but you know, hopefully this will cheer you up. Somebody goes, as a common. I heard some musicians on Rick Beato, he's a great musician, say some days it just not there. Is it common with... Yeah, of course it is. Sometimes you're in the mood, sometimes you're not. It's like anything in life, you know. Sometimes I play crap, don't know why, and other times I'll play really well. Don't know why, just the way it is, you know. It's a physical thing. It's like sport, you see. You know, people have to remember that. You know, some sportsmen, one day you'll have a great match if you're a football player. Next minute you'll be crap. You know. Look at Liverpool football team; they were flying away with it. What happened at the end of the season? There you go. Anyway, let's not go there. What's the best uke to learn on? Anything over about 25 quid. You know, ukuleles. You know, they're funny instruments. I've got one over there. It's a good mate of mine, Helen, lent it to me, which I use a lot. But most ukuleles, if you can press the strings down, buy it. I like the the teaching on Travis picking. Yeah, we're going to look at all the Travis picking thing any second now. I just want to get some of these questions in. Right, let's have a look. Sticky fingers. Cheers for that. £2. Brilliant. I've answered yours, haven't I? What's this one? Aunt Joseph Galasso. Do all musicians have slumps on what to do? Yes, we do. What you do is there's two words. I'm not going to say what they are. One begins with F and the other begins with I. You know, F-I. There's nothing you can do about it. You'll get over it. Just, you know, go and do something else for a while. But whenever you can't play, go and do something else. Take your mind off it. Go back to it and you'll be fine. The more you work on it, the more you let it get into your head, the more you'll cock it up. You can overthink, and you can't overthink when you play music, all right? Let's have a look. What else have we got? Here's our lead there. What else have we got? Could you please teach us how to play Sit Down by James? You only need 2 chords for that, for God's sake. All right, there's only 2 chords in it. Let me think what it is in my head without even picking up the guitar. It's in A, I think. Yeah. E, A and B 7th. We'll get to that. Right, let me take this one off for a minute. It's strangling me. I just wanted to show you that all right now thing, or to show you the guitar that I did it on. Let me get my other guitar. Hang on. Right, which one shall I play? Where's the other guitar? Where's the 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 guitar? Right, okay, let's start off by how do I practice my picking. Now this is what I've been doing. When I came back on holiday with Lynn, not really nice time in Portugal. When I came back, I couldn't play a note. My thumb, when I first picked up the guitar, was killing. I was like this, you know, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And it was quite simple. I hadn't practiced at all because I made a deliberate attempt not to play anything for those 2 weeks, thinking I would rest my hands, which I did. But I came back and my playing was absolute and utter shite. All right, or shite if you're from Ireland, okay, for my Irish viewers, right? So when I practice, say I'm playing, I'm going to pick something, and you tell me if you can think what it is. Some of those students who come here, you might know what it might be. Hang on. That's it. Hear that? I'm actually playing a track there, but I'm not pressing the strings down. I'm just trying to get into the percussive side of it. Do you know what it is? I'll drive Lynn mad doing this. And that's how you do it. Right, let me get the other guitar. So I've been working on that. That's the trickiest pick that I know, which is the one for Never Going Back Again. Now let's have a quick look at the Travis picking. I'll use this one. I'll use my nylon because I can. This thing here, by the way, for those people that ask, can you see this contraption? It's like a little thing just sticks to your guitar with suckers. It's nothing flash. They're just stuck on. So it just keeps the guitar in a nice position. Right, let's start off by looking at, the Travis picking thing. Now, I did a thing with my top 6 picking patterns a couple of weeks ago, which hopefully you will have seen. Cheers, Anthony Ward there, with a nice smiley face, good man. So the way I practice the Travis picking, which is the basis for hundreds and hundreds of songs, I'll try and sit this way so you can get a good view, is I play just play 4 chords. I play an A minor, because the A minor, the A string, the 5th string is acting as a root note. I'll then go to a C, and I always play a full C, like, let me just get this. I always end up going the wrong way. It's like, fucking hell, which way is it? That's it. That's better. Okay, so I play a full C, as you'll see why in a minute. Then I play an E minor, and then a G. And I only use those 4 chords whilst practicing, and you'll see why. Because, and I'm going to do the pick. I'll just do the Travis pick. Now, the way, for those people that have not seen me doing this before, you might find this interesting. So just, again, block the strings, because we're just listening for percussive sound. What does that mean? It means this. That's all we're going to do. Now we're going to play, your 3 fingers should be locked in onto your 3rd string with this finger, your 1st finger, 2nd finger and 3rd. We're not going to use this one yet, just leave it parked there, okay? And just do this. I want you to play, by the way, the 4, the 5 and the 6, they're all played with your thumb. And what we're going to do is play a 5 and then a 2 and then a 4 and then a 3. Now you'll notice that the 5 and the 2 are outside the 4 and the 3. Out, and I want you to chant this in your head. Outer, inner. Sounds daft, but it works. Outer, inner. See the way I've got these other fingers well out of the way? Not just locked in there. We're not using the 1st string yet. Outer, inner. 5, 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3. And we just play that. Watching TV, you don't have to get anyone's nerves, you don't have to wake your nan up. Just do that. I do that when I'm talking to my students sometimes, and I'm sure they must think I've got a nervous twitch. But really I'm practicing while I'm talking to them, like I'm talking to you. And when I've done that for a while, my fingers have got into the swing of things, and I'll put a chord on. Now I'm starting on the 5th string, so I'm going to play an A minor. Sounds pretty cool. And then I'm going to do 2 bars of that. So what does that mean? It means I'm going to count it like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 bar, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on the last and, which will always fall on the 3rd string, I'm going to bring my fingers off in order that I can be moving to my next shape. Alright? Because quite often the finger that's on that 3rd string is the first, will be needed for the first note of the next chord. Alright? So it's important that we come off on that 3rd string. And everyone does it. Books won't tell you that. Most other tutors won't tell you that because they don't realise that that's what they're doing. Alright? The only guitar player that I've ever heard that mentions it, believe it or not, is it was Brian May. The Brian May. So, you know, if it's good enough for Mr. May, it's good enough for me. It's good enough for you as well. So, and it makes life so much easier to keep in mind that very, very simple thing. It's so important. Otherwise, you'll just scuff it all the time. All right. So, I'll do that again. 5, 2, 4, 3. 5, 2, 4, 3. 5, 2, 4, 3. 5, 2, 4, 3. Count it by the bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm going to play a C, and I'm going to play a full C. What do I mean by that? Well, that's a C chord, but I want to use this note in a minute, so I'm going to anticipate that by putting this finger here. Alright, now we're playing a C now. We were playing an A bass note for the A minor. We're on C now, so you're going to think to yourself, well, hang on, how do I know where's the bass note? Well, think of it. When you tune up, we know that strings A sharp, B, C. Answers that for you, okay? So that's our note, root note. Same as it was for the A minor. What are we going to do? 5, 2, 4, 3. Exactly the same. Playing 2 bars. Let's put those 2 bits together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm going to play an E minor like this. Very simple chord. Pick is going to be more or less identical, but we're playing an E minor now. So the root note is not going to be a 5th string. It's going to be the 6th string. Why? Because we're playing an E minor and we want the root note to be an E. And the E note, as we know from our tuning, is there. There's the lovely Lynn with the T. Thank you. Oh, cheers, thank you. So we're going to play 6 2 4 3, 6 2 4 3, 6 2 4 3, 6 2 4 3. All the fingers are the same, you know, the only thing that's changed is the 5 has gone to a 6. And again, I'm gonna, whatever, I've got no fingers on that E minor on the 3rd string, but I'm gonna use that string to start my movement to a G. Now ordinarily we'd all play a G like this with a little finger down there, but as we're not using the 1st string yet, we don't have to worry about that. We're on E minor, so we're just going to throw this 3rd finger here up to the bass. Let me play that couple of bars again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'm bringing this finger off on the and up to the bass. I'm going to use the same string for the bass on the G. Why? Because this note now is G. How do we know that? E, F, F sharp, G. Everything else is the same. We're just bouncing from a 6 to a 4 rather than a 5 to a 4. And come off on the last 3 again and start the whole cycle again. So this is what we've got. There's Will on there. Sounds familiar. These things will sound familiar because so many songs are written around this particular pattern, as I'm going to demonstrate in a minute. Okay, so anyway, let's make it sound even more interesting. Let's introduce our bass guitar, shall we? The bass guitar player, if he was around, sitting in that corner on that green bass that you can see sitting over there, would do this. What's the last chord? Okay, so we're halfway there. We're playing half of those bass notes at the moment. So let's put the rest in. Right, so we're on A minor. We're going to play 5, 2, 4, 3. But instead of playing the 5 again, which would be okay, but it'd be a bit boring, well, let's alternate to a string above it. There's our root note. Do we have a string above it? Yes, we do. So I'm going to go 5, 2, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4, 3. There's our bass. And when we go to C, we start on the 5th string. And now you can see why I wanted this finger up here on the bass playing the G note. As we're starting here, do we have a string free above it? Yes, we do. So we'll go again 5, 2, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4, 3. Again, coming off on the 3rd string. Now, when we get to the E minor, our root note is here. Do we have a string above that one? No, we don't. No panic, we'll just bounce from this one to the one below it, like so. Then we go to our G. Now our G root note is on the bass string here. Do we have a note below that, above that, you know, as in above it to look at? No, we don't. So we're going to bounce again to the 5th string. And if we put that together, we get this. I am just a poor boy. And that's where all those songs come from. Street to London, The Boxer, everything. It's all based around that thing. Now, what about the 1st string? Well, I only ever introduce the 1st string if I'm changing chords. So say, for example, instead of just going 5, 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3, I'll put the 1 in when I play the 5 on the 1st beat. And then I won't do it again until I've changed chord. So so we're going to play 2 bars on A minor. So I'm going to do this. So it just goes bing, and I'll leave it bing, and I'm playing it with the 5. Everything else is the same. I'm just playing the 5 and the 1 together. Then I'm going to go to C, and I'll put it in again now because it's a new chord, an E minor. Now, when I play the 1, I'll put that finger down there, okay? Now it's great that because it goes bing. Now what you don't want to do is go like this, because it gets annoying and it gets on your nerves. Alright, so keep it cool, be subtle. In fact, when you listen to things like the Boxer, the first string's not played that much, you know, they just use it sparingly. Okay, but that's how you do it. Just use it as a general rule when you're going to change to a new chord. Now, that's all well and good, I can hear you saying. What happens if we're playing, say, down the... What if we're doing bar chords and all that stuff? How does that work? Christ, it's cold. Well, it's exactly the same principle. Think of a chord, say B minor. Should we say B minor? Now, I'll play the B minor there. B minor, for those people who don't know what bar chords are, we're going to go over this in a minute, so don't panic. We're going to get into the bar chord thing. All B minor is like an A minor shape. I'll use these 3 fingers to demonstrate. A minor. We're going to take that shape up 1 fret to A sharp minor, but we have to take the place of this nut here with our finger, or capo. Next one up from A sharp is B, but we're playing a minor shape, so it's B minor, okay? B minor. What did we do on the A minor? We started on that string, didn't we? So why are we starting on the same string for B minor? Because that note there now is a B. It was A sharp B, and we'll bounce from the 5 to the 6. If I was playing a C minor, which is the next one up, I'd do the same thing. And so on. Okay, get the idea? So that's the that's what you would do for the minor chords. Let's assume we were playing a B minor here. Say you had another guitarist in your band. You're playing this one. You've backseat that one, and he comes along and says, "Well, I'll play this one." What would the bass note be there? Well, we know it can't be the 5th string if that's the B note's there. We know that on the B minor, playing it with this inversion, the B note would be there. How do we know that? E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. So that would be our root note. But then we would think to ourselves, do we have a string above it? No, we don't. So we will bounce from there to there. So one guitar would be playing there, and the other one. You see what I mean? And it really is as simple as that. And it doesn't matter. D major 7th. Here, say. Okay, the root note for this particular chord is the 5th string because it's based around this shape. We're going to get into this in more detail in a minute, but you know, just to show you that from the picking point of view. Okay, so that's the basic thing about Travis picking. It's dead easy, but when you're watching this, even when you're watching me now, you should get your guitar and you can still watch and just do this. Just do that. It's the only way you're going to get any good, and you don't have to make a noise to do it. Okay, when I'm learning that, some of the stuff I have to do, because people come to me for guitar lessons, and you know, my job is to play what they want. And not everyone's a beginner, you know. So if somebody comes along and says, "I want to learn how," Steve Ward normally, Steve, he comes along with some stuff and says, "Listen, can you do this?" And it's like, bloody hell, you know, it's hard, some of it. So I have to go away, and well, during the week I have to learn it in order, because that's what I'm here for. And I have to get my head around it. Now, one of the most complicated ones I had to do was that there's a bit in Big Love. I think I've mentioned this before. You know, things like that. And in my head I have to sort of break it down. Things like that, or you know, I mean, again, I demonstrate this a lot because of the simplicity. It sounds complicated, but look at my chord, you'll know what it is. A minor. Jolene, can I have you? Please don't take my man. But that pick, you know, is most of it's open. And if you practice the picking with your right hand independent of the left, it's funny because, you know, because normally the way we think when we play, or when we start to play, head first, because if you don't know what it is in your head, there's no way your hands are going to know what to do. That's the biggest mistake anyone makes. The biggest mistake is they just don't know what it is in their head. So how can they possibly tell their fingers what to do? But normally it works head first, and then left hand, and then the right hand. When really, if you can get the information, if you can get your right hand to know what to do independent of the left, then you cut out that sort of that link, you know, that circle of stuff, you know. And the other mistake people make is when they cock up, they're always looking at this hand. They always assume it's this hand that's making a mistake. They'll be going the chord's right, but they're just getting all this wrong instead of going. Okay, so always make sure you understand what mistake it is you're making. Steve, there we are, just looking for, I know you are, it's Mr. Ward. Steve, I hope your wisdom tooth is healing well, my friend. He should have been here for this lesson yesterday, folks, but he made the most ridiculous excuse, saying they had to have a serious operation to have a wisdom tooth removed. Anyway, I hope you're not drinking too much tomato soup, Steve, and I hope it's feeling a little bit better. Clearly you're well enough to get on here, and you don't have to spend £5, you know, you don't have to do that, you know, just bring something a bit easier to play next time I see you. All right, what else have we got? Can you answer me a question, please? I tune my guitar and tuning, I check it on the 12th fret and bottom thin string is way over than the red of my guitar tuner. Okay, so open. Sometimes if the intonation is out on your guitar, what does that mean? Well, you know, you got 12 frets on your guitar, which is donated, not the wrong word. There it is. Can you see it? You got 2 dots. That 2 dots means that you've reached the end of the line. You're at your 12th fret. Anything after the 12th fret, it's like the guitar starting again. Those 2 notes should be the same, octave apart. Somewhere, as in Over the Rainbow, Starman. That's where you got it from. If it's sharp, as in if it's too high, then your bridge. Now there's nothing, if you get a shit classical guitar, mate, there's nothing you can do, because a classical guitar has to be made, you know, it's all made of wood, there's no adjustments on it, you know, there just isn't, not on the old traditional ones, you know, it has to be crafted well enough that all the intonation is correct. With modern guitars, of course, you've got a little slidey thing at the back where you can either bring it slightly forward or slightly back. Or it might be the neck, the intonation might be out on the neck. Also, if your nut on the guitar is too high, and when you press the string down it sharpens it. When you're tuning up with a capo as well, and this is important, if I tune my guitar, now let me show you, it's important this. If I put a capo on, I don't know whether you can see this. Hold on, can you see? It's, where are we? See, it's pretty, oh, it's a bit sharp. Something's a bit sharp, just pull the string. A bit sharp means a bit too high. Now watch this, if I put a capo on, say at the 6th fret, on here, where are we? Can you see that it should be reading A sharp, but it's showing that it's a bit high. See that one there? Sorry, I'm getting a bit too close. Can you see that it's a little bit sharp? That's because it's being pinched by the... So is that one. So when you do it, when you put a capo on, just pull the string to take some of the pinch out of it. Sometimes you'll pull it too hard. Now the trick for this is, say your guitar is perfectly in tune before you put your capo on, and you put the capo on, you think, shit, I don't know what the notes should be in order to tune it up here. Well, it doesn't matter. You know that because your guitar's already more or less in tune in its open position, then as long as that needle is in the middle, if in this instance A sharp, you know, if I didn't know it was A sharp, it could be beat, anything. You know, all I need to know is that needle's in the middle, because my guitar is already in tune, open, so I know that whatever it is, it should just be in the middle. Okay. So if I put it, say here, I've got no idea. You know, well, I know what the bass note is. It should be a G sharp. Now I do know actually, but let's assume I didn't. All I wouldn't want to know is that note there needs to be in the middle of the line, and so on. So don't worry about knowing the notes. Let's have a look. We got John Robert. Well, what's your vid on Facebook with Al singing about love? Could you do? But which one's this? With which vid's that? I don't know what that one is, John. Remind me what it is. With yeah, I don't know what that one is. Hiya Barbara Parks. Hiya Barb. Hope our Keith's doing all right. I'm thinking of him. Yeah. What comes after Strawman? Don't know. Who's Lynn? Lynn's my Lynn. Who's Lynn? Lynn's the person that somebody's asking who you are. So somebody's asking who you are. Do you want to come and say hello? Lynn's the one that keeps everything in order, folks. Quite literally. Yeah, here she is. The beautiful Lynn, who makes all the tea and the coffee and does everything else and makes all the button pressing. I can't do it. I'm absolutely thick.
Working eventually.
I'm thick as pig shit, as we say here in England. What do you say in America? Do you say?
Could you answer Anthony?
Which one?
Well, he's asked the same question.
Oh, Robbie, you're getting my emails. I just emailed you about 3 months ago about finger picking style. I don't know, Anthony. I'll check, mate. If I haven't. I'll check it out, Anthony. If I haven't got your emails, it might be going into the junk on my phone. If I haven't, please accept my apologies, and I'll check it out for you. What are you asking about anyway? Let's have a look. The Christy Moore ride on. I don't know it, but I'll check it out for you, my friend. I'll give it a listen. What else have we got? Have I missed anything out? Anyway, this is
that one's just
Dave. Could you explain the difference between the role of a producer and that of an engineer in the music studio? Have you done both on your record? Okay, so
I'm going.
This is the look. Yeah, Lynn. By the way, all those backing voices on my records. This is the singer. She passed the audition when I heard her doing the Star Trek theme. All right. Thank you. I'll see you later. If anything comes in that I miss because I can't see, give us a shout. Thank you. Yeah, producer and engineer. Now, I'm a producer, but I am not an engineer. So what does a producer do in a recording studio? Well, a producer will he's the guy, he's the architect, if you like, that knows what the musical building is going to look like. See the way I'm using these analogies. He's the one with the vision. He knows what it is. He might have been given a song, or he's got a band in, like Tony Visconti, for example, with T-Rex. You know, Mark Bolan wouldn't have had a clue on engineering or anything, but Mark wrote the song. Tony Visconti, the clever guy, didn't write the song. He knew all about the engineering, and it was Visconti's job to advise Bolan on the instrumentation that should be used on the record to bring the best out of the song, because the song is the most important thing. And the engineer is the guy, the unsung heroes of a recording studio, I might add, are the guys that the producer will turn to and say, I want you to get a sound like this, and he might have an example of a sound, and the engineer's job is to listen to it and come up with that sound, and basically keep the band happy. And the engineers, you know, if without a good engineer, you're wasting your time. Of course you get some great producers who are both engineers as well, but more often than not they tend to do one or the other. They certainly don't, in my experience, they tend not to write, produce and engineering. Okay, you know, normally they'll the roles are pretty different. We you know, when I was a young fella, my band were very fortunate to have a producer called David Mackay, who's a good friend, still a good friend of mine, and I learnt a lot off Dave, because you know, as non-readers of music, he was a great arranger, and he taught us all about sort of how to put harmonies together. So if you listen to my stuff, even though I can't put it down in notation form, I know how to arrange them, I know how to do it, but I just can't physically write it, score it. You know, I have to get somebody else in if I needed to do that. But I know how to do the arrangements, as does my dear brother Alan, who's I worked with for the last 40 years. You know, so we do it by ear, but we sort of know what we're doing. And Alan, in our relationship, he's the engineer, you know, he's also a good songwriter, but Alan predominantly, he's the one that presses all the buttons. I'll say, oh, that's not right, and he'll somehow try and get it to sound good. So engineers, they're worth the weight in gold. Cheers, Malcolm Davis. Cheers, Mal, thank you for that. You didn't ask a question. I just got a chicken doing a funny dance here. So the producer, we've covered that one. Let's have a look what else we've got. We've got a few more coming. Hang on, here we go. Let's see what else we've got. Yeah, here we are. Let me just see if there's anything I've missed before. Lynn's doing the coffee now. That's good. Yeah, this tune. There we are. Okay, right. So let's wait for a few more to come in. Don't forget, it's your opportunity to ask about anything you like. Particularly the youngsters. Now, I know almost the demographic of my audience that you know, they're not spring chickens, unlike the little diagram that we've just seen floating up there. You know, we're all seasoned. We've been around the block a few times, but we'll probably have relatives out there. You know, young niece, you know, nephew or something that wants to get into the music business. This is their opportunity to ask me a question. You know, I've made 12 albums, done a lot of theatre shows, you know, which I've written and produced. And a lot of people want to know how to do it. You know, I'm meeting a good mate of mine on Wednesday in the theatre down the road because he's got a show on and he wants me to help him, you know, advise him on. It's not just about the writing of the plays. How the hell do you get it on? How do you finance it? You know, how do you publicise the damn thing without spending more money on publicity than you're going to make selling tickets? You know, there's a balance to be had. These are all the things that you have to take into account when you're doing it. You know, you don't just write the script and say, well, that's my job done. That's not even the beginning. So these things, you know, need a lot of thought and a lot of advice. And as I say, I've made enough mistakes in my time, as well as had some good success to be able to give you a few pointers if anyone needs any. Right, let's have a look here. We've got Tommy on here now. Rob, I'm 72. I had a guitar for the age of 5. Played for years, then left it for about 5. And now my fingers and the tips go hard and sometimes catch on other strings. Well, that's cool. Don't worry about it. Just, you know, just the more you do it, the fatter your fingers get. You just got to get a wider neck. That's why I tend to use this. Don't worry about it. That's fine. What was the Fleetwood Mac finger picking song you played a few minutes ago? Well, there was this one. How's it go? That was one called Big Love, and the other one that I played, which is harder to play in my opinion because it needs a lot more fiddliness, the pick is so much more difficult, was this one. What's it called? Never going back again. That one, Never Going Back Again. A beautiful, beautiful tune. Lindsey Buckingham, great guitar player. He plays great guitar in a very unique way because, you know, being an American guy, they know how to play banjos. So you tend to find a lot of these great players, you know, they may have started on fingerpicking on a banjo and they've transferred that to guitar, which makes their style very unique. And he's a wonderful player, that man. You know, and when you look at the shapes, you know, they're not that difficult. It's just the pick, and the pick, once you get into it, is not that difficult either. That song and all those other ones I've done, again, they're all on there's 300 videos I've done. The paperwork is there for all of them, which you can look at. It's all free. Okay? And you'll just have me talking to you like I'm talking to you now, showing you how to do it. What else have we got? So, let's look at, people ask me about a thing called the caged system, right? And it sounds weird. And I didn't have a clue what it meant. Well, the cage system, it's got nothing to do with a cage. It's just to do with the names of the 5 main chords that we all know and love. So we've got, forgive me, let me just get into position. We've got our C, K, A, G, E, and D. Caged. That's all that means. Okay. Each of those shapes are movable. All of them, you know. C is movable. That first shape that good player out of the Chili Peppers uses a D, but he doesn't use a D shape here. He uses this shape because he's a good player, and he plays a C like this, as a lot of classical players would do. Okay, now it's tricky because what we're doing is, why is it D? Good question. We know from what we were talking about before that the C bass note is there. Now, if I wanted to move that shape up, say that's the only shape I knew, and I wanted to make that into a D, I'd say, well, C is there, C sharp is there, sharp means higher, that's all you need to know, and D is there, okay? But, big problem, this thing here, the nut of the guitar, is looking after all these open strings, so we have to take them with us. We can't just move these ones, okay? We have to take this up. So if we were to put our fingers here, for example, just to show you, and keep this free, or put it there, that would be C. I'll move those 3 fingers up, but now I've got to replace this with the bar, or capo finger, whatever you want to call it, and then D. Sorry, we've got C, C sharp, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, and so on. It's movable. Okay, so if I had if say for example I had the shape there, you'd say to me, well, how do I know what chord it is? Well, this finger tells us what the root note was there, so whatever it is here, that will tell us what the root note is at that position. In this case, that note there is an F, so this chord that we're playing, although it's the C shape, is actually now the chord F. Let's put it to the test by playing an F that we all know. Okay. Now clearly, you know, if you weren't buzzing around the neck a lot, you could say, well, I'm not going to bother with that, I'll put. So you'd put your capo there to take the place of that finger, which means one of you could be playing and the other one could be doing it there. So that's how the C things would move around. And incidentally, the alternating bass notes would move in exactly the same way. Now you may say, well, how can I do it? I've got no finger now. You know, if I wanted to do that alternating bass note, you know, well, we had a finger there, didn't we? Do you remember we had a finger up here on the C? But there isn't one there now, so what we'd have to do is this. Oops, let me get this right. It's tricky because you wouldn't normally do this. Where are we? Now you wouldn't in real world do that. I'm just demonstrating. You'd use a capo like that, and we go. We put it here, and we do that. But that's how the C one would move. E, we know how the E works because most rock and rollers, these are the two that we use all the time. We've got our E, which we know E would be there. The root note is here. Move it up one, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp. What does sharp mean? It means higher, for those people that don't know. What does flat mean? It means lower. What else do we need to know? Nothing. How do I know my way around the neck? Say when playing, because one of the things I nearly got kicked out of my young band is because I knew how to play all the chords, but I didn't know, if somebody said B flat, I wouldn't have a clue what they were talking about. I know the shape, but I didn't know where it was. So I developed a stupid little way of remembering, and it works brilliantly. On your guitar, you've got 3 dots, okay? Usually at the 3rd fret, the 5th, and the 7th. Sometimes you get one at the 1st, forget about him, okay? G, A, and B. Those 3 dots represent G, A, and B on the bass string. Girls and boys. Think of it like that. Girls and boys. So I'm going to put a light on. Hang on. I can't see what I'm doing. Right. Girls and boys. So our dot. If I got I'm trying to find a guitar with a bigger dot. Can you see that? There's our dot there for G. Girls and boys. So if somebody said to you play G, you'd play the E shape at the 3rd fret. Why? Because that note is now, we know that's a G. If somebody said play G flat, flat means lower, so we know that that's what that means. G sharp, we'd move it up because that's G sharp because it's higher than G. G flat, G sharp, E, F, F sharp. How can that be F sharp? You said it was G flat. Well, it's both. It's higher than F, so you can say F sharp, right? but it's lower than G. So you can say G flat. The next one, A sharp, then it goes to an A. We know that from G, A, girls and. So that one here can be A flat, but you said it was G sharp. It is. It can be both. It's higher than G, but it's lower than A. Alright, that's all you need to know. If you see it as A flat in a book, that's what you do. Where's A? A's there. We know that because girls and boys. You know, G sharp, A flat. What's that one? It's higher than A. You tell me. A sharp, yeah, bang on. But it's lower than B because B's the next one along, so it can be called B flat. If I was playing, now how do I get these? Say I wanted to play a G minor using this particular little thing. What do we do for a minor chord? Well, if we're playing an E there, if we were playing down at this end and we wanted to go from an E major to an E minor, we would take off that finger. So similarly, if I was playing here, what chord am I playing? Well, I'm at the second dot, A. So I'm playing an A there, A major. Why is it a major? Because all these fingers are on. So it's a major chord. It's a happy chord. I'm going to talk about that again in a minute. Major, minor. So A major, A minor, A seventh, A minor seventh, A major seventh. All right. I'm going to talk about the 5 faces of chords in a minute. So that's how you work your way up, you know. So if you get lost on the neck, if you're playing the E shape, and which most, let's be honest, the 2 main shapes that we move around are the E and the A. We tend not to move, classical players and that will move the others around a lot, but let's be honest, we are mainly looking at the E and the A. All right, so if you're on the playing anything to do with this E chord here, as I've just demonstrated, we know how to get our way around the neck now, girls and boys. We can easily stumble our way to the end. Now, let's be clear about one thing. There are 2 positions on a piano, on any instrument you like, where there is no sharp and flat in between. One is between E and F. We sort of know that anyway when we're playing. And the other time is between B and C. B and C. No sharp and flat in between. Why is that? I don't know, and I don't care. All I know is that that's what it is, and I'm sure somebody cleverer than me can tell me. But I don't care, and I'm not interested. All I need to know is that that's what it is, okay? Pianists tend to know more about that stuff. We guitar players couldn't care less, all right? Or most of us, unless we're into jazz and we want to talk about it over a pint of Guinness to an audience of 3, okay? It's true. So, B, C. C sharp, because it's higher than C. D, D sharp, and then you get to your 2 dots where we're back to E. Any other dots that follow, they're just a repeat of the ones you've already played. All right, so that's how you remember where you're on the neck. So if I said G flat, you say, where's G? G, girls. Flat means lower, so you'd be there, and so on. All right, so we've done C, we've done the A, we've done the A shape. Let's look at the A shape, because the A is another one that we move around a lot. We know from our little picking thing that the A root note is here. Thanks, Billy. Cheers, mate. Thank you for the... I don't know what that character is, but he's laughing at me with a funny hat. Is that hat supposed to be mine? Thank you, Anthony. Right, so we've got 10 quid off Billy. Cheers. It's going to buy fresh coffee, that Bill. Right, so here's our A. Now let's assume we wanted to make that into an A sharp. I always use these 3 fingers when I'm playing because I do quite a lot of, I can't get my head around this, classical playing. So we tend not to do that, we tend to do this. Why do we tend to do this? Because if I wanted to say play an A sharp, I'm going to just move these 3 fingers now from here to there, and I'm going to replace the nut again here. So my 5th string is the root note, because it was when it was at A, but now I'm playing A sharp, because it's higher than A. If I was doing the pick, the next one along would be B. The next one along would be C. Why? Because there's nothing between B and C. Why is that? Don't know, don't care. After C, C sharp. Don't forget it's a different note because we're playing on a different string. The 3 dots that represented G A and B on the 6th string when we're playing the E shape. When you're playing the A shape, the datum point, the point of reference now, is the A string. That's our starting point. So the 3 dots now represent at the 3rd fret C, D, and E. Sounds like Billy Shears. Maybe they were working it out and they came up with that little tune. Who knows? C, D, and E. Now I've got no silly rhyme for those or little phrase for that. I don't need them because it follows the alphabet, doesn't it? C, D, E. This one I needed a rhyme when I was younger because it didn't follow the alphabet. It went G, A. It's weird. G, A, B. So I just thought girls and boys, C, D, and E. All right. So if we're playing anything to do with the A shape, your root note is here. So if I was at the 3rd fret, it would be then a chord C. If I wanted to play a C minor, I would change these fingers into the minor shape. If I wanted to play a minor 7th, C minor 7th, I'd do that. If I wanted to play a C 7th, I'd do this. If I wanted to play a C major 7th, I would do this. Now I'm whizzing through this now, but I'll tell you, I've done lessons with paperwork and everything. In fact, the last one I did, I think was to do, I think I looked at the barcodes. I did, this lesson was masterclass 7, which I reposted on Wednesday just gone, and it goes into great detail with the diagrams of all these dots, so please go and dig it out, okay? Because I'm just sort of doing an overview on here because I don't want people to get fed up or get bored thinking, well, I know that. All right, so you know, so that's what that is. Let's carry on with the cage system. We've done the C, we've moved the A, G. There's no way in a million years we'd go like this. There's G. Okay, now of course it's movable, we could do that, but you look at that, it's, you know. Now believe it or not, that shape or part of it is used a lot to demonstrate. I'll give you one example. You get a shiver in the dark. But Mr. Knopfler, he's just going to use the 5, 4, 3 and 2 of the shape. What are those chords? He's playing a D minor, he's playing a C, then he's playing a B flat, and then he's playing an A. But of course he's Mark Knopfler, so he's not going to play those bog standard shapes that you know. He's going to try and be clever, and he is clever. He's doing this. But instead of playing the 6th string and this one here, he's just using the 5th string here of the G shape, remember, and he's keeping his bar. That would be, how do we know that's the C? Well, when we play G here, we know it's a G because the root note is on the bass string of the 3rd fret. Okay, that's where it lives. If it was here, whatever that note is tells us what the name of that chord is. How do we know what the chord is? You know, it's miles up the neck. We'll use the dot thing we just said. Girls and boys, B, it's one ahead of that, B, C. There's nothing between B and C. Why is that? Don't know, don't care. So this chord is now C. It was G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. So that's how that one's moved. But again, you tend to fragments. They use fragments of these things. So that's the G. We've done C, A, G, E. We did that before. And finally, you've got D. Now, a lot of people move the D up by putting a finger there, which is not. You can do that, but it's, you know, it's not the root note. When we play the D, this is a tricky one. We use this all the time in classical playing, all the time, and it's probably the trickiest shape of all. Let's put our D, instead of playing it like this, let's do it with these 3 fingers here. Okay. Oh, let's get it right. Can you see that? If I move that up, now there's a whole fret of nothing. All right. So when I move this up, this finger has got to do that. See? Okay, so there's your root note on the 4th string. Now we've not talked about the 4th string root note, but whenever you're playing the chord D or anything associated with D, there's our D note, there's our D minor, there's our D 7th, there's our D minor 7th, and there's our D major 7th. Okay, now similarly all those chords are transferable up here, you know. But we tend, unless you're playing a classical piece, they're not the sort of things that you would strum. You would use a capo. Alright, so our root note for the D would be there. So let's just go over that one more time. D major, D sharp, and so on. Now, the Travis picking, somebody asked me a really important question. They said, well, if that's the root note for D, how do I do the... You sort of run out of strings, you know. Well, you could, of course, just bring your fingers down. But what a lot of people do is they use the, as I do, I use the A string instead of the D. I can't be arsed moving the whole pick around, so... Because it's not imperative that you start with the root note. I mean, when John Lennon played Julia, for example, he used a capo. I'll just give you an example. When he did that, Donovan had just taught him how to pick. Okay, now he learned how to go from 5 to 6 the way I've taught you. But when he went to like an E minor, where it goes from 6 to 5, he thought, I'm not doing it, I can't be arsed. He just went... He just stayed on the 5, didn't care, and that's what makes it sound unique, you know, because he's not a reader of music, and I'm not. We just do what sounds good. Okay, so he just played the 5 to the 6. He didn't care about going to the doing the 6 to the 5. Another way of getting around that particular problem, and I like doing this as well, but if you detune your E string to a D, then the D becomes a 6 string chord. Then, you know. Bit closer, can't sing it. You what I have to say. Neil Young, the great Neil Young, but he uses the open D. Now, whenever you're playing that, you've got to remember to give your 2 frets back every time you change into a different chord. Okay, so now. All chords, and this, I mean this in a serious way. Hang on, what we got here? In the cage, hold on, where's that? Where's Eric? Hi, Rob. Sorry, I missed you. I need new glasses. Many thanks for your channel. In the cage system, what are the benefits of doing scales up the neck? Should I be practicing scales relative to the chords up the neck in cage forms? I don't know. I mean, my thing is, I know. Let me show you now before I forget. Let me grab another guitar. Hang on. I'll find a guitar with a plectrum. Bear with me. Let's have a quick look at this. I'm going to show you something simple. Again, it's another little stupid Fennah way of remembering stuff. Let's assume. Now, I always use. Sorry, this camera. Whatever. If I move one way, the thing goes the wrong way. It's like topsy-turvy land. Okay, so I'm going to just play the pentatonic scale that you'll all know. Okay, well, I'll do it in A, 5th fret. So if I was in A minor, D minor and E minor, for example, or the Aeolian scale, which is just a pentatonic with a couple of really classy little notes added. Now, this is the bit that you might find interesting. One of the things, let's assume you only knew the pentatonic scale, you didn't know anything else, and you're in a band, and some of the songs are in a minor key, and some of the songs are in a major key, and you think, well, ain't shit, I only know one scale, for Christ's sake, you know, but you don't want to get the sack. So how do, but you've heard that the pentatonic can be used as a major in a minor song with minor chords, and also with major. This is how you do it. When you're playing in a minor key, the first finger, you know, now this is pretty bog standard basic stuff, all right, but you know, you can develop it from this. We know that the 5th fret, if I'm playing a song in A minor, we know that that was where it's like a good reference point to start. How do we know that? Girls and. That's how we remember that thing we did, girls and boys? So we're playing an A note. The second note along is the 8th fret. Now we know that note is B. Forgive me. B and then C. Okay. So we're at C. A, C. Now that's all you need to know what I'm going to say. Forget about all the others. A and C. If I wanted to play this particular pattern of notes, and when by pattern of notes I mean, you know, what my fingers are doing here, watch. If I wanted to play that in a minor key, I know that this finger's pointing at the A. That's going to be called my minor finger. Okay, minor finger. My little finger is going to be my major finger. Okay, it's the smallest, but it's going to be the major finger. So if I wanted to play a song in A major, or say you're doing a song and it's all dead laid back, all that sort of stuff, that works great. You know, but then somebody says, well, that's a bit Mary in the audience, she's had a bad day, she wants cheering up, you can't fucking be singing all that minor stuff, so something's going to be an A major. But that's a much more uplifting thing. What can we do? We only know one pattern of notes. You take your little finger, whereas the A was there for the minor, we're going to go like this, and we're going to put our little finger on that A note now, and I don't care what these others are doing, all I know is that that's where my hand lives. A major. Okay, say somebody was in the key of B flat minor. B flat is here, how do we know? Because B is there, flat means lower, so we would go. But if it's in B flat, it's also the major. If I wanted to play in B, that's in B flat minor. If I wanted to play it in the key of B flat major, I'd put my little finger, which is currently sitting on the C sharp note, I'd put that on the B flat note. Alright, and that's how you do it. Let's do one more. If I'm in B minor, B minor. There's the B minor. It's also the major scale of D, alright? So it's worth knowing that. But if I wanted to play in B major, not B minor, I would take this little finger, which we know means it's our major finger, and we're going to go da 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 da. And there's our B flat. Right, let's have a look. What else have we got? I don't know what's a double stop. I don't know what that is. Maybe if I saw it, I probably know. So give us an example, Tom Mason, give us an example of what you mean by double stop. I don't know a lot of the jargon, you know. I probably know how to play it, but I'm not sure what that means. Now when you're doing your Aeolian scale, and this is the one I use all the time. I only use one scale really, I don't use all that, all the other stuff. I might play them, but I don't really know what they are. Neither do most of the great guitar players. Dave Gilmour's on record saying he doesn't know any scales. He goes, well, I obviously know them, but I wouldn't know what they were. I just know where to start. That's as I'm showing you, Now, if we're playing, this is important. This to me is the most important scale. Instead of just playing your bog standard pentatonic, which is, let's stick with A minor because it's easier. All right. So instead of just going your Aeolian scale, don't be put off by the fancy name. Don't ask me what it means because I haven't got a clue. You're going to play, instead of going 5/8, you're going to go 5/7/8. Instead of going, which so 5/8 would normally on the pentatonic on the bass string. On the fifth string, sorry. Instead of just playing a 5 and 7, we're going to add an 8 as well. So we've got 5/7/8, 5/7/8. On your fourth string, we're going to play 5/7. So we're halfway through. Already it sounds more classy, rather than. Okay. Then we're going to do, and when we get to the third string, where normally we'd play a 5 and a 7, we're going to do a little shimmy to the left. All right, and we're going to play our. Now, you see a lot of books showing this note played on the fourth string. Don't do it there. It doesn't work. It's shit. Oh, trust me, it don't work. I'll show you why in a minute. We're going to play that note on the fourth string at the fourth fret. So you're going to move your hand 1 fret to the left. So instead of just playing the 5 and 7 as you would normally on pentatonic on the third string, we're going to play a 4, 5 and 7. So we've got this. I'll shout the frets out. 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7. Shimmy to the left. 4, 5, 7. When you get to the second string, get your finger back into position at the 5th fret. Very, very important. Where we will play, instead of playing a 5 and an 8 as we would pentatonic, we'll play a 5, 6, 8. And then finally on the first string, we'll play, instead of playing a 5/8, we'll play 5/7/8. So we've got this little shimmy to the left. Now that's important, that little. Why wouldn't I want to play that note there? Why would I want to play it on the third string? It's so I can do things like this. I can't do that, which you will have heard 1,000 times. 1,000 times. I can't do it if the note's here. It's impossible. So you do it there. Now most books show it there, which is, I don't know, I was going to say something rude then. Some person, probably some university graduate in music that doesn't know how to play guitar, but he's got a degree in something or other, decided that the note is here, because you got to remember, you see, and this is what a lot of people don't get. This is why most guitar players don't read music. Unlike a piano, for example, say I played the note E on a piano. I can either play a higher one right up the keyboard or a lower one. I can't play that octave E in any other place other than one key on the keyboard. Bom, 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 bom. However, on a guitar, if I'm playing that particular octave, I could play it on the first string. I could play that octave on the second string, on the third, on the fourth, and on the fifth. I could play it in several places on the guitar, and consequently, when you've got to write it in notation for guitar, you'll notice there's lots more information. It's not like a piano where it's pretty straightforward. They have to put all sorts of other bits of information to tell you what fingers on the left hand you have to use, and what fret that particular note is going to be fretted. If it's an open string, fine, but if it's there's a big difference in distance between, if you're playing from a first string to there, for example, there's a lot of movement going on. You have to the music has to tell you what's going on there, and in the end people say, you know what, I think I'll just listen to it and do it that way, or this is where tablature comes in. But the best way of doing it is to follow my idiot proof. classical arrangements, because I've done stuff like grade 5 things like Lagrima, but I've put them in idiot proof format. The same with Cavatina, which is a grade 8, which is one a lot of people want to play, but they can't do it because they can't get their head around the shapes. What's that shape, you might say? Well, let's look at the cage system. Oh, isn't that C thing that when he moved up? Why am I putting the finger down there? Because our tune lives there. But really, I'm playing the C shape at the 4th fret. This note, little finger, I know it's telling me what the chord is. It's an E. So, okay. The next chord in Cavatina, this is just an example of the cage system. That chord is a G sharp minor. Well, how do you know that? Well, what does that shape remind you of there? It's a D minor, isn't it? But played at this position, and so on. Can't do it on this guitar. But that's how it is. They're using the cage system and all those shapes that look alien when you're playing fragments of them. Like Martin Knopfler only used those other bits, and that's what they're doing. And classical music, when people get scared of it, well, let's think about it. What is? Let's simplify it into its purest form. Cavatina, for example, I'll use my other guitar. I'll use this as an example because it's the hardest one to play. Right. So if you listen to, say, Hank Marvin playing Cavatina, the great Hank Marvin, he'll sort of, he could order his pint. No ice. And while he's doing that, Bruce Welch, another fine guitar player, fine musician, he's the rhythm guitar player, he'll be going. I'll have one as well, some nuts. Easy when you've got two guitars playing different things. But if your melody's going up the neck and you're a classical player, say for example the first shape, we know the melody lives there. Well, I can't play that chord there and that at the same time. It's impossible. So I've got to find another way of playing that E chord in order that I can play that melody note. So I'll use the cage system and I'll do this. Forgive the guitar's a bit out of tune. So there's our tune. Now the next note, it remains there, but it's a G sharp minor. So where are we? Let me. And then the melody goes all the way up here, and that's an F sharp minor. Now I know an F sharp minor there, but I can't play that and play that at the same time, so I've got to use the, so I'm using the A minor shape or fragments of it, but when played there it's F sharp minor. That's what classical guitar is. Alright, and when I keep saying about, when you were doing the Travis picking and we're taking our fingers off going, well, when you're playing in a sort of an orthodox way as we do, because rock and roll and pop and all that, it is an unorthodox way of playing. In classical music, open strings are written into the music in order that you can get from one place to another. For example, like Lagrima. See, the second string gives you the opportunity. Open string. That's how it's done. So in classical music, it's written with open strings in order that the player can get from A to B. When we're strumming away, just hitting all the strings at once, then of course we can't do that. We've got to bring our fingers off. I mean, a classical player, think it's abhorrent, and you'll never find a classical player, proper serious classical player that can play other styles of guitar particularly well. They might be able to dabble, but they won't be able to play any other style very well, because it takes that much skill and dedication to play a classical guitar well. it's a different league of playing. It really is. People say, oh, you know, Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix and all these guys, they always pick electric guitar players. That's a piece of it's so easy to play that compared to something like Cavatina. It really is. And any guitar player that's ever tried doing both will tell you that. All right, so there you are. All these young lads that you see whizzing up and down a neck on Facebook. I mean, you know, some kid came up to me the other week and said, "Hey, Rob, have you seen this fella on YouTube? He's the fastest guitar player in the world." I said, "What's his name?" He goes, "I don't know, but he's on you know." And he had this metronome going about 200 beats a minute or something. He was going, you know, and he's in the Guinness Book of Records, being whatever it is. And I said, "No." I said, "Have you ever heard of, you know, David Gilmour?" He says, "Yeah, Pink Floyd." He goes, "Well, he's definitely not the fastest player in the world, and yet everyone's heard of him." Now, for me, being in the Guinness Book of Records for being able to do that, it's a bit like, you know, the guy that can put 6 boiled eggs in his gob without cracking a shell. It's a useless record, okay? Because a guitar solo, in my opinion, is supposed to be an extension of the song. It's not. It's not an exercise in just, you know, whizzing up and down the neck for the sake of it, because that isn't music. All right. So it's important we sort that one out. Any of these young lads who are doing all that, we all did it. We all tried to be flash, but really, when it boils down to it, it's a load of shite. All right, it just is. And I went to see a young lad doing it a few years ago, and you know, he's one of these guys that does all this sort of, it's like all that stuff. And he did the first song, and it was great. I thought, bloody hell, that's really good, that. Then he did the second one. I said, well, that was a bit like the first one, but you know, that was great and all. By the time he got to the third one, he said, you know what, I'm sick of this, I'm off. Because everything was just the same, because that's all the guy knew how to do. Right, what have we got here? Look at the question. Where are we? Which question are we talking about? Oh, Lynn's sneaking in here. Oh, a double stop. Sorry, using 2 strings. Oh, do you mean like? Hold on.
Johnny, be good.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know what you mean. I've done a lesson on Johnny Be Good. I did a lesson. Okay, now that was my guitar just going flying. Lynn, that's your fault. How's it go? It's in B flat now. Yeah, double stop, it's just that. And Hendrix used to do. Where are we? Where are we, for God's sake? This is the guitar that's tuned wrong, sorry. I tuned it up differently, didn't I? No wonder it sounds shite. Let me use this one. Yeah, double stops, all that. All that stuff. It's good. I did, if you're interested in doing something like that, listen to my tutorial on Little Wing. It's a full tutorial there, and not many people have bothered watching that one. So, because whenever I do anything that's dead hard and I'm trying to show off, and it's a bloody good video, that one, and all the paperwork's there, guess what? People look at it and say, you know what? There's no way I can play that, so I'm not even going to waste my time watching it, which is a mistake, because if I'm telling you can do it, you can do it, because I make it easier than anybody else. And by easier, I don't mean physically easier, but I try to make it easier for you to understand that it's not, you know, it's not that difficult once you know the little tricks of the trade. Right, let's have a look at some more of these things here. Are nylon strings easy to fret for old? Yes, they are. Nylon guitars are much easier to play as far as pressing the strings down. However, it limits what you can play on. All right, you know, you can't use a pleck with them, you can't bend the notes as you can on others, but they're certainly easier on the old fingers. It's good to have a couple of different guitars if you can afford them. I used to think that guitar players, when I was younger, I'd go and see a gig and I'd see all these guitars they're fucking showing off. I had one, you know, and I realised as I got older that all those guitars that they had were all tuned differently, like mine are in here, and each guitar had a different purpose, a different job. So if you've got a nylon guitar, that's great, but try and get a cheap one. Now, whenever you're buying a guitar, don't buy a new one. Never buy a new guitar. Buy a great second-hand one. All my guitars nearly all of them are second hand. You know, I would not buy a new one because they're a pig to play. I've got a Strat sitting on the wall downstairs. I bought an SG for my son. I've hardly played them because they haven't been played in, and I can't be arsed spending another 20 years of my life playing them in. So they're just sitting there like decorations on the wall. Beautiful guitars, but they're horrible to play at the moment. I use my old trusty Fender Telecaster, the one you can see behind me. Got that in 1972. My dad got it for me when I joined my first band, and you know, that took a while. That whammy bar on it, I remember I never used it for 20 odd years because every time I went like that, everything went out of tune. But it's great now and beautiful. I use it on everything. That song that you heard me at the beginning of this, that's that guitar. It's almost as old as me. Let's have a look at what else we've got. Low action is the secret, of course. Yeah, low action. Anyone that has a high action, you go to somebody's shops, right, and they say, "Oh no, you get a better tone with a higher action." That's a load of crap. What that means is they can't be asked setting it up for you properly. Nobody wants to fight with a guitar. You know, when John Williams, the classical guitarist John Williams, he spends 35 grand on a guitar, right? I can't remember the name of the builder. He doesn't buy it so veins will pop out of his neck while he's trying to fret the first chord to cavatina. You know, these guitars are so easy to play. You can just, you know, and look at some of these beautiful. Some of my favourite classical players are female players. You know, and you know, all you guys out there that think, you know, you've got to have arms like a fucking docker in order to fret the strings. Well, you look at some of the way these young women play the guitar. They you know, they put us to shame the way they can fret these things. You know, I'd be like this, and yet they're just, you know. Now part of it's to do with the technique because they're classically trained, and the other part is they're probably playing a guitar that's worth more than our house. So there's that. You know, you need the right instrument for the job. All right, that's very, very important. What else have we got? When you play two notes adjacent strings, yeah, Johnny Be Good. Now I've done a tutorial for Johnny Be Good. Again, it's there. All the paperwork is there. Go check it out. There's nothing on that's up here yet that we haven't done. Light strings. I use 10s usually. I don't like them too light, otherwise they bend around too much. Harmonics at all is the only harmonics I know. I don't know how to. I'm not very good at all. You know, when you see people doing all this stuff, there's some great players that do it. I don't know how to do that. I've been threatening to learn. The only harmonics I know are your bog standard ones. You know. The great Steve Hackett, one of my favourite guitar players of all time. Certainly not the fastest, but certainly one of the greatest. Why? Because he was original and he's melodic and he was beautiful. What else have we got here? I'm enjoying these questions. Don't forget the ones that have got the whatever you call it, the what do we call them? Hang on, let me just see. The super chat questions. They pop out. They're the ones that stick out. Flight of the Get Lost. Flight of the Bumblebee. Actually, Flight of the Bumblebee is a good one. I can't play that. Jesus Christ. I'll tell you the great solo. Have you ever heard Rock Around the Clock? Now, Rock Around the Clock, you listen to the fella in Rock Around the Clock, you know, that old 50s, right? His guitar is as clean as a whistle, and he plays with such great speed, but he plays it in a melodic way, you know. And I would defy any of those guys out there doing all this shit to go and listen to Rock Around the Clock, and you have a go at that. Take all the fuzz, take all your distortion off, take all that crap off, and go and play that fella, the one with the funny quiff. Go and have a go and see if you can play that. See how you get on. They won't get very far, you know. I am Mark. It's Uncle Rob. Yes. How you doing, Mark? What else have we got? Do you remember Sabre Dance by Dave Edmunds? I don't, but I probably know it. But I think Dave Edmunds is brilliant. What a great player he was. What else have we got? All the Beatles would always fool around with ukuleles. I like you to practice chuckings. Yeah. Now look, ukuleles. Watch this. Don't you dare run off. You've got to learn how to play a ukulele. I'm going to do this next, and I'll probably only get about 50 views, but I don't care. Michelle, this is made for ukulele. words that go together well. I'm Michelle. What a great song. It's made for a ukulele. What about this one? I would have bought the record, probably did, just for that little lick. I never thought I'd miss you half as much as I do. Madness. It wasn't Madness, it was Lavi Sifri. But that little riff, love that. You can do some great little tricks on the uke as well. You can do things like this. You can make it sound like a little quartet. Watch. You know, before you start a song. So what am I doing? I just play a simple chord for those ukulele players out there. Put your little finger on, say, the first string at the 3rd fret. Now, I'm going to go like this with I'm only going to use one finger. I'm going to go like this. That's all I'm going to do. But I'm going to hit this string all the time as I play each of the others. Okay, then I'm going to put these 2 chords over here to make, I think it's a diminished shape. It's like a D shape thrown over your little finger. And then I'm going to play a D minor, which is, you'll know guitar players as an A minor shape, but with your little finger still on. And then finally a G7, which guitar players will see as a D7. What?
Somebody's mentioned I'll see you in my dreams.
I will see you in, I've done I'll see you in my dreams. It's beautiful. Lonely days are gone. Life sings a song of the happiness there used to be. I've done a tutorial for I'll See You in My Dreams. It's there. Go and have a look at it. Every single note with the great Joe Brown, you know, who did that song. Beautiful, beautiful record. That's on there as well. I'm a guitar player, but I learned to play on one of these first. Jesus, that's cold. By the way, this cup is important. It's the most important cup I possess. If you know, you'll know. I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered. My life is my own. You know what I mean. What other ones do we know? Have you remember that one? McCartney fans will know it. Give your heart to somebody soon, right away, right away. I love that song. Ram by Paul McCartney. I reckon is probably his best album. It's out of tune, this. So, what else was it before we get back to guitar? A raindrop keep falling on my head, just like the guy who's needed too big for his bed. Dead easy chords. The great Burt Bacharach wrote that song. Brilliant. Anyway, I'm going to put that down. So it's a dead fly on the back of it there. I was using it the other day. Got you margin git. Right, okay, let's get back to the guitar. Let's have a look at some more of these questions. What have we got here? Tales of the Riverbank. Oh, let me just tune this in. It's fallen on the floor. It's been all over the place. Hang on. Do you remember, you American people, my friends from Australia, America, maybe Australia you might know, but we used to have a great kids program over here called Tales of the Riverbank. And in fact, talking to Steve Hackett, he actually did a version of it. And it sort of went like this. it was about a rat and a hamster, and there was a bit in it every episode that Roddy the rat would end up getting little poor hammy hamster to do something. So we put him in a balloon one day, and the balloon accidentally went off into the stratosphere with the hammy sitting in it. And whenever something like that happened, he'd always use this chord that I just used before, the one in Michelle. Oh, Roddy. So as he was going up into the air, they always used that. And another time he was in a paper boat. They made a paper boat for him, and Hammy was put in this paper boat, and he was floating along quite happily until he came to the waterfall, and of course, so that's the Tales of the Riverbank chord. Now, I mentioned before about chords having they have personalities, they have faces, they have colours. They do, they really do. And my brother and I, Al, we used to write a lot of music for telly. We did a couple of hundred for Granada TV, including some for the late great Tony Wilson, some of his programmes. And the briefs would be quite, they'd be quite brief. You get a rough idea of what the programme was about, and we base our composition based on the mood of the thing. So, for example, let's use A as an example. Now, this is the way I think when I'm thinking about chords. If I'm writing a song and I want it to be a jolly song, a happy song, then I'll think, well, it's got to be in a major key. So I'm going to use A as an example, A major. Hey, happy. If it was a sad song, then I would choose a minor key, so I'll play an A minor. Depressed, minor. Rather than okay, no, happy, sad. A seventh chord. I always envisage a seventh chord as being a bit of a creepy, a sneaky chord. I've got the measure of you. Don't think you can get one over on me, mate. It's that sneaky sort of, I know your game. So that's to me a seventh always sounds a bit sneaky chord. It can also be used to great effect by the likes of Mark Bolan. You're so sweet, you're so fine. I want you more than everything just to be mine, 'cause you're my baby. Anyway, we digress. That was a seventh. Sneaky chord. The one I find most amusing is this chord. I always imagine people who are a bit vacant. And I don't mean vacant, I don't mean to be rude, probably I'm being rude to some people, but we've all met the sort of people, the ones that they haven't really got a care in the world, they don't know what's going on in the world, they've got this sort of type of personality. You see them walking down the street, slightly glazed, it's like dreamy, like. Sometimes it's like maybe a bit more vacant, like. Maybe a little bit of slobber here. But nevertheless, so major seventh. You always hear it at the end of the, just as a soap opera is about to start. Oh, Joe, where did I put those slippers? I'm sure I left them around here somewhere. Major seventh. And the other one that I use all the time is this one. It's a minor ninth. Now I always use these chords. I like creepy stuff. I like creepy chords. I know my young son Sam likes the creepy stuff as well. I think he's based his book on these creepy things that his father used to play to him when he was a child. So that's the one. It's a minor ninth. It's like a clown under the bed chord. What the was that? It's a great chord. So that's our minor ninth. So remember, chords have faces. If you're writing a song, thank you very much, Anthony. Yeah, a nice laughing fox there, cheering away. If ever you want to write a song, think of think of the lyric. What is the lyric? Sad? Is it happy? And that's a good place to start. Major sevenths, incidentally, they're beautiful chords. I'm joking, by the way, but. just play like if you played an A major 7th like that, play an A 7th there with that. It's got like 2 fingers, it's got a hole in the middle. Put your first finger there, you know, and then bounce to 1 finger across 3 frets at the 2nd fret to a D major 7th. And immediately you'll probably think, hang on, I've heard that somewhere before. Is that America, you know, or is that, you know, one thing, you know, it just sounds like 100 things right now. That I've just remembered something. This here, there's a great song. One of my mates, Kath O'Brien, my good friend Kath, she introduced me years and years ago to a song by a group called Kansas, and it was she was trying to learn it, or she thinks she knew it. It was called Dust in the Wind. And it was a beautiful guitar piece at the beginning, and it's one that, you know, that most guitarists would like to learn. And it sort of goes like this. I'll play a bit of it for you. It sort of goes, and again, it's sort of like the Travis picking-ish. It's almost the same. And so on. All right. So, but what they used to get confused, and what everybody gets confused about, is where do these fingers? There's only 2 chords in that intro. There's the C, which we've used. Now we're not using the 6th string here, so we don't bother putting the finger on. Our little finger's going to do some fiddling. Now, what's going on that, for example? And look, this is great just to be able to play. Your little finger's going to go onto the 2nd string at the 3rd fret, and your first finger's going to go onto the 2nd string at the 1st fret, and then sometimes it'll play the 2nd string open. So when you're playing C, sometimes you'll play there, sometimes you'll play there, and sometimes you'll play with nothing on. The other chord you're going to play is an A minor. Sometimes it'll play with that finger off, and this one here, and this one there, and this one off, depending on where you are in the track. Now the trick is that nobody could remember. Most people forget what order these fingers go on and off on the C and the A minor. So I've done this. It's a bit of scribble. Screenshot it if you want, or look back at it. See that you've got C 1031. Have a look at that. 1031. What does that mean? Well, first of all, let's look at our pick down the bottom. We've got 5 plus 2. What does that mean? It means we're going to play 5 and 2 together. Then we've got 4 3 5 2 4 3. Inner, outer, inner. I think it is. Okay. So we've got an A minor, or a C. Sorry. This is the pick. 5 and 2. 4 3 5 2 4 3. So 5 and 2. Inner, outer, inner, which is almost identical to what we were doing before. So let's have a look at, that's the pick. Go on to your C, but then we've got 1031. What the hell does that mean? Well, it's my simple way of saying, well, when it says 1, that finger, I'm only referring to the 2nd string, that 2nd string is played at fret 1, and I'm going to do the pick with this 2nd string played at fret 1. Then it's got a 0, so I'm going to take that off because the 2nd string is now played open. Same pick. Then it's got a 3, so I'm going to put my little finger on the 2nd string at the 3rd fret, and I'm going to play the same again, and then I'm going to put it back on the 1st string at the, sorry, on the 2nd string at the 1st fret. So we've got 1 0 3 1. Can you see that? Now watch what I do on the last 3. I come off on the last 3, as we always do. The next chord is an A minor, and it's got 0 3 1 0. There's our A minor. It's got a 0, so I'm going to play that 2nd string open to start. Same pick. Little finger on now, 2nd string at the 3rd fret because it says 3. Then it says 1, so I'm going to put it at the 1st fret. Then it's got a 0, so I'm going to take it off again. And on the last 3, I'm bringing my fingers off again because I'm going to go back to the C, where it says 3 1 0 3 this time. 3 1 0 3. See, they're all in different positions. They're all different 3, 1, 0, 3. So I'm going to start on the C with the finger on the 3. 3, 1, 0, 3. Come off on the 3. Go back to the A minor where it says 1, 0, 3, 1. 1 as in first fret. 0, open. 3 because it says third fret. And then 1. And then I'll just start again and I'll use that as an exercise. The song would begin. Let's do it again slowly. I'll just shout it out again. Don't forget your pick. 5 and 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3. All the way through. No changing of bass notes. That's what you do. Okay, so I'm going to shout out the second string position. Either saying 1, 0 meaning open, 3 or 1. So on C, 1, 1, 0, 3, 1. To A minor open, 3, 1, 0 as in open. To C again, 3, 1, 0, 3. Back to A minor, 1, 0, 3, 1. And then just start it again. Now if that's all you know and you go, this is what we do, watch. And you're thinking to yourself, shit, I don't know anymore. They're all going to be waiting for me to do the song. I don't know what it is. What am I going to do? Shit, is that the time? I really must be off. I've got to get the shopping in. See you later. And you run off. The other way of doing it, say you only know a few bits of different songs. Say I knew a little bit of, say, Horizons by Genesis. The one I played before. Okay, so I'm going to play that in key of G. I know this bit. I'll do that again, cocked it up. And maybe that's all I know. I think, what am I going to do now? It's too short. Mix it with something else that I do know. There's that chord again. I know that. Medley it up. Ah, where's it go? And just join things together. They won't know, and then everyone will go away thinking that you knew 5 or 6 tracks, and really you didn't know any of them all the way through. But by putting them all together, all the bits you do know, then and that was just a rough example. I cocked up on the last one, silly me. But it's live, like I said to you before. Now I was going to ask you, have we got any more questions coming in here? What have we got? What was it? What are we looking? Taking care of business. Can you please go live every night? You booked me up. Listen, good, I'm glad. You've got to have a laugh. And don't forget, I teach privately. For those people that want to talk to me one-to-one, you go and have a look at, just get in touch with me on via the channel, by the email or whatever. And for those people that want to, like the album or the, this is the album. This is sold out now, this one. This was the CD. You can get it on download and it's coming out on vinyl. It's called Junction 39, don't you know? I've got the same hat on, you see? See the way I'm looking cool in my specs? There we are. And my leather jacket, which I've had for about 100 years. Oh yes. You know, so there's that. But does anyone watch the news recently about John Lennon's guitar being found after 50 years in an attic? Well, guess what? I wrote this book with a good mate of mine, Helen H. Jones. Ellen A. Jones, what am I talking about? a few years ago, and it was all about the search for the. It's a novel about the Holy Grail of pop memorabilia, which is not a guitar, it's the banjo. It's the banjo that John Lennon had to play on. He talked about it right up until his death in 1980, and it's missing. It's been missing for years. So that guitar that was sold for $2.5 million. If this banjo was found, you're looking at about 5-6 million. So Julia's Banjo is the name of the book. Check it out. You can get it on all the major platforms if you're interested in a good yarn. You know, it's based in Liverpool. It's a good little story. It was a stage. We did it as a stage play as well. Lennon's Banjo, which did very, very well. In fact, the great Pete Best, he played, the first drummer of the Beatles. He played a cameo role in there. We were very lucky. He's such a good sport, Pete. He played himself for a couple of shows, which was absolutely. It was an honour to have one of the Beatles in one of our little shows. It was great. So there you go. What have we got? What's this one? Which solos? I'm not going to say what it is. What's that mean? This is off Nancy Fox. Ever do any didder solos? What does that mean? Willie solos? I ain't got a clue what that means. I'm English. I'm a pom. I ain't got a clue what that means. You would tell me. All right, tell us what it is, and I'll do it. Let's have a look at this. Let me just see. There's more questions firing in here. Hey, listen, we've got 692 viewers here. That's good for me. Let's get it over 700. Come on, get your mates there. Don't forget, youngsters. Got any youngsters? How do you get on in the music industry? How do you do it? Let me tell you a little story. It's funny. I've talked about that Telecaster before. When I was, somebody mentioned earlier, asking, how I got interested in music. It was, I used to play a lot of folk and stuff because my dad was into all that sort of stuff. Still is. I'm lucky enough to still have my mum and dad. But he taught me how to play. He taught me how to pick and all that sort of stuff. Joan Baez and the Spinners and those folky things and all that. Ghost Riders in the Sky, an old girl book, all that sort of stuff, which is great, grounding. But I went to see my first band when I was about in 1972 at a place called the Stadium in Liverpool, which was a boxing arena, scruffy old place. But my favourite band at the time, there was Mark Bolan and there was a band called Slade. And Slade were a fantastic group, Noddy Holder, fucking stunning vocalist, great band. And we all trooped down there to see him, a bunch of kids. I'd just started off trying to get into a band. I wasn't in one when I was at school. And Noddy was on, and before the band came on stage, they had two support acts I'd never heard of. So we were just, one of them was called Susie Quattro, and the other one was called Thin Lizzy. Never heard of them. We were only interested in watching Slade. And in the balcony, we saw Jimmy Lee was the bass player, and he was doing this with his thumb. He had an S on it for Slade. That was the trademark. And we all thought he was looking at us, he thought he's looking at me. And when they came on, and Noddy he was famous for his silver mirrored top hat, and it was stunning to see them, in the flesh. And it was what pop stardom was all about, and it inspired me to want to be in a group and be on a stage like he was and all that. Anyway, so roll the clock forward 5 years. I'm in my band at this time. We've just signed a deal with RCA, and we're in Germany doing a TV show. We're in the top 10 with a song called Love Rules. Funny title, but there you go. It's on YouTube. You can dig it out, still there. And it was in the top 10, and we were doing a TV program called Bravo Disco, which was like Top of the Pops in England. It was a big show, and on the bill was Bonnie Tyler was on there, and Slade, and it was like, bloody hell, I remember, I'm thinking back to when I was at the Stadium watching them there and doing this, and we're sharing the same bloody dressing room, and the image and what brought it down to earth with the bump, because everyone has this impression of pop stardom and what it's like. The image I will always take to the grave is being in this dressing room talking to Dave Hill and Don Powell and Jimmy Lee. Noddy wasn't around. He'd gone to the loo, and I always remember him coming out of the loo with his mirrored hat on. That was all he had on, and his underpants, saying to Dave Hill, "Hey Dave, where did you put my bloody pants?" And that, in that instance, it taught me everything there was to know about the music industry, and that is, it's just a big load of nonsense. There's Noddy, my hero, walking around the dressing room with his hat on, in his undies, looking for his trousers. All right, that's rock and roll. Okay, that's what it is. some great stories. And the next time I met him, we were in the Liverpool Empire, and he was one of the. We were in this Battle of the Bands thing. I'd set up a new band, and it was a rock competition in a place called the Empire Theatre. And we were a teeny band, but we were a good rock band as well, but nobody knew it. So we changed the name from Buster, which was our little teen band, to Alternative Radio, which is the name I still go under now. And we entered this thing, or our bass player Kev Roberts entered us, and I said, Kev, it's a heavy rock band, mate. It's, you know, it's all Genesis stuff. There's no way we're going to win. The judges were Noddy Older, and Roy Wood, Angela Bowie. So we went on there, and I was that convinced we weren't going to win. I was loading Elton Load the Van when they were announcing the judges, and guess what? We won. Blew them off the stage. There you go, a little Buster, a little teeny bop band. Gave them a right good kicking. And I think that's one of the highlights of my career, just giving these people one in the eye, because we knew how to play, and it was great. I still love it. I think there's a video of me walking on the stage collecting the award, and I think I went like this to people that were booing, because I was dead hard in those days. Right, what else have we got? The guitar wants to play flamenco. Oh, cheers, Nancy. Thank you for the. I still don't know what it means, but thank you very. Oh, Willie Nelson. I see. When you said Willie solos, I wasn't sure whether you were being rude there, because that, Willie Nelson. And Willie Nelson's brilliant, of course he is. I don't know that, but I'll check it out for next time. If you tune in for my next one, Donovan taught the Beatles finger picking. From what I heard, like Universal Soldier. Well, Universal Soldier was Donovan did it. He didn't write that song. I thought he did. It's a great song. Lyrically, that song still stands up today. He didn't write it. But Donovan taught John how to do the. He taught him how to do what I'm teaching you how to play, and with it he. He learned how to do that. Paul McCartney, we've discussed this before. He didn't want to learn how to finger pick. He didn't want to learn. He had his own way of playing. Paul McCartney, he used one finger to great effect. When he did Yesterday, he just went. No messing around, just. That's all he did. He just used one finger. Blackbird. Everyone cocks Blackbird up. You buy a book with Blackbird, trying to learn how to play Blackbird. It's always wrong, because again, the people that write the books are music graduates, and they don't realise that Paul McCartney broke the rules. They can't get their head round it. They should have had a guitar player doing it. And most guitar players cock it up. Let me show you how he does it. He does this. Again, if I was going to practice the pick to Blackbird, I'm going to block the strings, and I'm going to, with just one finger and thumb, I'll play 5 and 2 together, then I flick down and up with the first finger, and then I hit the 5 on its own, and then I flick again, but this time up down. So it's down, up, 5, up, down. I'm going to call this a pinch, because I'm going to pinch the strings. 5 and 2. Pinch, down, up, 5, up, down. Pinch, 5, up, down. And you just boom, daka, doom, da, doom, daka, doom, da. That's what you're thinking in your head. Boom, daka, doom, da, doom, daka, doom, da. Don't think of anything else. Boom, daka, doom, da, doom, daka, doom, da. Put the first shape on, go to the 10th fret, put your first finger there, and put your little finger on the second string at the 12th fret. It's my phone, that. Hang on. Sorry about that. So you put 10th fret, little finger at the 12th. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to let our first finger lie across the 4th. No big deal, just let it touch. So we're only going to hit these strings. 5, mute, 3, that's the important one, the 3, and a 2. And just leave these fingers sitting on the string like we did, just somewhere to anchor your fingers. So just play what with the pick. This was the pick. So. That's Blackbird, but that's what McCartney did. He just, I think of all the Beatles, and it's probably going to cause some controversy here, but he was the genius of the band. John Lennon, everyone, says Lennon was, and to some degrees he was, but musically McCartney was the man, the man. He created the half of the Beatles music that you hear wouldn't have existed without him. Even the covers, McCartney was the Abbey Road. It was McCartney's drawing that they did. Sgt. Pepper was all McCartney. The White Album, the idea for the White Album was all McCartney. McCartney, you know, all this backward tape stuff that people attribute to John Lennon, it wasn't him, it was Paul McCartney. John Lennon was playing Happy Families in Surrey with his wife and his young kid Julian. Paul McCartney was a bachelor at the time, and he was, you know, living with Jane Asher in London, and he was going around all these avant-garde places. He was the one that met Yoko first. It wasn't John, and you know, he brought all these ideas into the studio first. You know, John, of course, developed them, but it was McCartney that started it off, and people don't give him enough credit. You know, McCartney is a musical genius. You know, he really is. Anyone that can take, I mean, let's look at a Daft song. It's a beautiful song. I say Daft, forgive me. It's not a Daft song. It's a great song. Let's play these 3 chords. I'm going to play, for example, this is an example. C, an E minor, and an F major 7th. That's all I'm going to play. Now you can all play that. You can all play those 3 chords. Well, what McCartney did with them, first of all, he put a great bass line to those 3 chords. Now that in itself has been sampled thousands of times, and then of course you've got your main verse. You think the people would have had enough to silly love songs. So he wrote all the verses with that particular tune. Then it came to the chorus. I love you. That was that melody that was going on. Then later on, I can explain the feelings that you say. So can't you say another layer of melody? Later on, how can I tell you about my loved one? Then the brass comes in, same chords. Put it all together and you get all these beautiful melodies towards the end of the song, all intertwining, and a beautiful collage of tune and melody. And all the time he's playing 3 chords that you could play now. C, E minor, F major 7th. Everything McCartney did was easy, and but how he thought it, you know, there's a great bit in Band on the Run where he goes, and it's played on the strings, and you know, if I said to you, I'm going to show you how to play that now, you'd say, look mate, I've got to go to bed in a minute, I ain't got time. And I'd say, well, hold on, just watch, play a C like this. This is the main big riff, do do do. And if you know how to play Band on the Run, I bet you don't know how to play this bit. I'm going to show you do in 2 seconds. Right, there's our C chord. Hit the bass string. Take your fingers off. Leave this one on. Take these off and hit the 5th string. Put your fingers back on. Hit the 5th string again. Take them off and hit the 4th string. Put them back on and hit the 4th string. Take them off and hit the 3rd string. Then hit a D twice. Then a C. Then do it again. On, off, on, off, on, off, D, D, C. See what I mean? And that's how he would have thought of that particular orchestral piece. You know, even better than that. If I said to you, do you know how to play E minor? You'd look at me and go, no. No, I mean, it's okay. You'd say, of course I do. And I'd say, okay. Now, this is one of the reasons why you never play E minor like that, unless you're doing an Oasis song, which we're not. Play E minor like that. If I said put your little finger on the 2nd string at the 3rd fret, then put it into the 2nd string at the 2nd fret, and then take it off and put your 1st finger on the 2nd string at the 1st fret, and then take it off. So we've got, now you know what, you can tell already what I'm going to play. The only other chord in this particular song is C. I can't sing it, it's too high. I'll do it from the verse. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rights in a church where a wedding has been seen. Lives in a dream. I'll do the other bit. All the lonely people they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Say, I look at all the lonely people. But he wrote it on a guitar playing C and A minor. But when you listen to it, probably the most covered Beatles song with all those orchestral bits going around, you know, that was an addition. That was an addition. McCartney he wrote it on a guitar. Watch him playing it live. So what's the point I'm making? The point I'm making is you don't need to play, you know, finger-breaking chords to write beautiful, simple, and not, you know, melody. You know, this is the thing. What makes a great song? It's not all this. It's the tune. It's the melody that the listener will, you know, remember. If they can't remember it because it's too fast or it's too complicated, you're wasting your time. It's no bloody good, you know. Now, one of the differences between, and this is, if you're a songwriter, you got to remember this. McCartney kept his chord foundations very simple, like we did on Silly Love Songs. He used 3 chords in order that he could play all those different melodies and then bring them together. If he'd have had a really complicated chord pattern as well, it would have been like having too much paint on the canvas, too much food on a plate. It would have just sounded shit. Lennon, on the other hand, he did things slightly different. He would say, for example, he was very monotonal in his melodies. He would sort of go, when I was, I'll do this, I'm going to exaggerate. When I was younger, so much younger, than ba 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 ba, same note, you know. I am he as you are me and you when na 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 morning. You know, see the way the melodies he used were very, very, you know, single note, and he'd undulate his chords underneath, and it would allow. Here's the lovely Lynn. Here's the lovely Lynn. What does that mean?
Nothing.
Sorry, you threw me off. So Lynn's just walked in and went like this, and I didn't know what it meant. Blackbird was by piece by back. Yes, it certainly was. Yeah, so he would keep his chords moving around, you know, and keep his melody simple. So in a nutshell, busy melody, simple chord structure, simple melody, busy chord structure, you know. Right. Is it time for us to finish? Is that what you're trying to say?
I've just come up with the cups.
Oh, the cups. And where's me tea?
Well, you got water.
Oh, that's great, that is. In water, I'm not going to get very far. As our bass player used to say, we're not going to get very far on sody pop. So I nearly put my eye out then. For fuck's sake. It's not funny. I need an eye rest transplant. Listen, it's after 9 o'clock. I can swear they don't mind. We're all adults. We're all in it together now. Oh, what have I done? Lynn, I've pressed a button here. What have I done? Oh, hang on. Lynn, help me. Oh, yeah. So, breaking news popped up in front of me. I couldn't see what I was doing. Right, let's have a look. A few more questions before we knock it on the head. Blackbird was inspired by a piece by Bach. Paul wrote the lyrics and helped with the melody from when. Yeah, John helped with the melody. He may have done. I'm not sure. Speed kills. I want a great melody. Yeah, paperback writer again. You know, I did a tutorial for this. Look at that. You know, he's playing one chord. It's a bit like that thing that we just did on Band on the Run. You know the way they. If I do it from this angle. Nothing in it. The most difficult riff to play by the Beatles is I Feel Fine. Can't do it on this guitar. I'll try it on this one. Bear with me. Hold on. Let me find a guitar that's in tune. Hang on. It's probably the trickiest one. That's a tricky one. That's hard, especially on an acoustic. I'll do a lesson on that. Now, any requests that you've got, how often do I go live? Once a month, first Saturday of every month, but I put a couple of tutorials up. Oh, John Martin. I'm sorry, I'm looking at these. May you never. I used to know May You Never. I've forgotten it, but I'll learn it again. But it's a beautiful thing. Oh, thank you to Phil Hogg. Thank you for those nice comments, Phil. Appreciate it. I'm here all the time. All right, so, you know, let's keep it fun. That's what it's all about. And any questions you've got, you know, you fire away. You know, anything you've got. What was that? Day Tripper. Yeah, well, Day Tripper is. I've done this. When I first started off tonight, I mentioned about putting chords together with riffs. You know, and one of the first things I did was this. But you know, paperback writer. You know, it's like it all. All those things. I did again a masterclass or a video called "The Mother of All Riffs," and it was showing you how to play this. Which you'll all know. Elvis. And from that you've got things like Pretty Woman. There's thousands, you know, hundreds. Angie, I've done. Yeah, that was great. I enjoyed doing that one. I've been threatening to do it for ages. Keith Richards is a difficult guitar player to teach because he's quite a he's a feely player. He never plays the same thing twice. You know, he never plays it the same. You probably can't remember how he played it the first time, old Keith. But he's for me, he's one of those. He's like a rhythm lead guitar player. He doesn't play like much solo stuff. It's all rhythmically, and I prefer that style of playing. To be honest with you, I love that chordy, riffy stuff. You know. I don't know how to sing, it's too high. Somebody laughed at me the other week for singing something. I was doing turn, 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 and I couldn't sing it because I'm not, you know, I still have my testicles. But anyway, I was trying to show people how to play it, but somebody, you know, had to go at me because I couldn't sing the tune. I'm sorry about that. But I'm trying to teach you the guitar part for FFS. Never mind. You get some characters when you know, some people get a little bit disgruntled now and again. It's all part of the fun, particularly all the tutors. You know, you don't do it like that. That's an open G. It's an open G. You know, it's not the 4th string of the 5th fret. It's an open G. He hollered. I love it. It's great fun. I said, "Well, show us then." Never hear from him again. I said, "Well, go on, show us what you mean." And silence is deafening. Good fun though, isn't it? What other one shall we do? Another one that I've done that you should have learnt and you haven't. I know this because I look at how many people view them. Why haven't you learnt this one? 3 chords. 3 chords. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Why haven't you learnt that? It's all there. All the paperwork is there, folks. That is one you should have done. It's irritating that you haven't learnt that. There's only 3 chords in it. D, G and A. Well, there's an F and a few little fiddly bits. But I've done it in an idiot-proof way. You know, the way I write stuff out. So you can't cock it up. There's hundreds like that you should have done. What other one shall we do? I'm trying to think of new stuff to teach you. I've got to try and pick stuff that is not too difficult for you beginners out there, but it's not going to be too boring for you people who've played a little bit. So I'm open to suggestions. Let's have a look what we've got. Buddy Holly. Oh, Buddy was great. A, D and E. If you knew. It's great, Buddy Holly. Great, Buddy Holly. Badfinger. Oh, what they were great. Yeah, they were a great band, Badfinger. I did. I mean, he wrote that great song, didn't he? Without You, what a stunning song that was. Got ripped off, those boys. You know, as a lot of people in this industry do, sadly, including myself. But hey ho, there we go. John Mayer plays Blackbird, and he's your strum type pattern, but sounds okay. Yeah, I suppose he does. Thing for me is, if you're going to do, this is the thing, when you do a cover version of somebody else's song, particularly a really, really famous one, there's only two ways of doing it. You can either do it like the original, and you know, as with Blackbird, if I was going to do Blackbird, I wouldn't change the picking. I'd want to do it the same as McCartney. Or, you know, you can do a song, you know, in a radically different way. For example, say you were going to play this. Say we were going to do that. Well, I can't sing like that. I haven't got the voice for it. I would just end up doing myself an injury. So what you can do, you can sort of Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to sell your body to the night. Roxanne, you know, you just change the feel and put a few. But when it gets to the big bit, do that. I might do a version of Roxanne, but I want to do it. If I'm going to do it, I know I can't do it like Sting, and there would be no point because he's got such a beautiful voice and it's right up there in the old falsetto range, and my voice is lower. So I would have to do a completely different arrangement and have to rely a little bit more on my playing ability to make it work. I might have a go at that. I might try and do something with that one. What else have we got? Here I come when you got the ace of my face. Too high. Here I come when you got the da-da-da. You always did the ace of Smokey. I love Smokey. I don't know why she's leaving or where she's gonna go. Guess she's got a reason, but I just don't know. There's a porn version of that. And every time I hear that song now, it reminds me of those fucking lyrics that Chubby Brown did, which is not cool. But there you go. The Allman Brothers, they were great, the Allman Brothers. What else have we got? Bob Dylan, he's great, of course. Don't Think Twice, It's Alright. What else have we got? I'm just checking, just going here. I'm going to get off soon. I'm going to let you get something to eat. Right, before I disappear, I want you to, we're going to have another 10 minutes. Before I go, this is your last chance to ask some questions, okay, until next month. So come on, ask us something. Anything you like, ask us something. Give us something to get my head round. What would you like to learn? I made some notes on. What did I say earlier on? Just bear with me a sec. We've covered quite a lot today. Now, oh yeah. During since the last one, people have asked. We've looked at all this other stuff on the left hand. Let's just quickly go over the strumming. Now, what is strumming? And I'm not being pedantic or trying to be a smart ass. It's this. You're going to move your hand up and down.
Mamas and Papas,
The mamas and the papas. What's that?
Tommy Mason.
Oh. Mamas and the papas. Yeah, that's a great one. That's what we should do. All the leaves are brown and the sky is grey. Good all the words. What a great song that is, the Mamas and the Papas, but it's completely through me. Oh yeah, we were going to look at strumming. Strumming, as with the Mamas and the Papas I've just done, two main things you've got to learn. One is a straight rhythm where your hand is going to do this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the other is a swing rhythm or shuffle rhythm as it's often referred to. Like a cowboy. Dun, 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 dun. It's got a swing. Okay? So you've got like on the first part of the journey. Now everything that happens between in those strums, that people say, well, it's all different strums, it's like different ups and downs. Well, there might be, but really what's happening is, say I was going to play Stuck in the Middle with You, Steeler's Wheel, which goes like this. Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. Now you can hear da da ba 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 da da ba ba ba. Now when you first start playing, you would be forgiven to think you do this. But you don't. You do this. You get your rhythm going. And we're going to go down, up, 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 down, up, up. Now we're not going to stop our hand moving. We're going to go. That's the first thing we're going to do. See the way the hand continues to move, and eventually you'll be able to do this. And you'll do the downstroke, but you'll block the strings. This is a complicated rhythm, by the way, but I'm using this to demonstrate. Watch. That's a straight rhythm. If I was going to do something like, let's think of another one. Let's do okay, The Passenger by Iggy Pop. Let me think of the. Okay, so this is the strum. I'm going to do the strum first, which is going to be a swing. Now, the chords to The Passenger by Iggy Pop go like this. But it clearly doesn't sound like that because I'm putting too much in. So what happens with that is you sort of come down with a choke and then choke it again. If you look at it at this angle, if you were to turn the sound off when I've gone away and you're watching this back and you turn the sound off and I'm doing Iggy Pop, you'll see my hand going as if I'm going. But what you're really going to hear is this. Now you would probably, if you were starting off, go like this. As I would have done, because that's what I would have done. But it's not, it's... So, what I'm trying to tell you is that all these different varieties of strums, like this one, which is a very popular one, which is one of the first ones I learned, was my dad taught me to play it by learning a chant, and I suppose I've adopted that way of teaching. He said, no, he got my hand to move like this. And he said, I want you to say this: down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down. He goes, but keep your hand moving. Down, down, up. And just hit the strings when you're saying, you know, just catch the ones that you're saying. Keep your hand going on the ones you're not, but down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So if I was playing like Band on the Run, for example, I would use a straight rhythm with that strum. Crash. If I was doing Oasis, if I say I was doing Half the World Away, I would use the same chords, because you know, Noel Gallagher borrowed quite a lot from McCartney, as the Beatles borrowed a lot off our American friends, and he used a shuffle rhythm. So I'm going to go. So I'm going to go down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. See the way the hand's still moving? Same chords. C to F major 7th, by the way. I would like to leave this city, this old town, and so on. It's all about the keeping the hand moving. So whenever you see these down, up, get the basic rhythm going, and then pick out the ones that you can hear. Now, if it happens to fall on a downstroke, play it. If it happens to fall on an upstroke, play it. Let's go to the extreme example of this. I'm going to play a bar chord for a minute. I'm doing this, you'll see why. I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to play some reggae. Now reggae, I'm going to do a lesson on reggae. Reggae, you're just going to sort of play the upstrokes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'm just going to play on the ands. So watch this. And I'm going to press down when I say and. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Red wine goes to my head. Oscar. Bad Manners, remember him? Jesus, is he still going? He was great, you know. But it's just a matter of you just pressing down on the upstroke. Works on the bar chords, of course, because now all I'm doing is I'm doing that all the time, and I'm just pressing when my hand comes up. If it was more like Bob Marley, press, press, press. But my hand is still going. A buffalo's old town. Yeah, the point is you keep your hand moving. If your hand stops moving, you lose your rhythm. Clearly, a seasoned player. I'm waiting for my coffee, by the way. Clearly, a seasoned player would be able to sort of stop their hand moving, because it's sort of the clock is always ticking in the head. So that you get used to doing that. But for those people who are starting off or they're not sure about strumming, you keep that hand moving. You don't stop that hand moving. Always remember, if you make a mistake on your left hand, you get away with that. You know, because there's usually singing. You'll get away with a mistake on the left hand. You will never, ever get away with a cock up on the right hand. It's like somebody kicking the jukebox or the CD player or whatever it is they call it these days. You know, whatever music system it is that people dance to, it's like somebody knocking it, and even the dog, right, will give you a sideways glance if you do that. So remember the rhythm, keep that going. And all us professionals, when we're doing it, because we cock up all the time, when we make a mistake we just keep going and sort of say, yeah, you know, is everyone having fun, what chord is it for? Yeah, and then we just carry on. But if we stop playing and the rhythm stops, you're in trouble. Okay, so Lynn has arrived empty-handed. No tea, no coffee.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, it's I think it's time to get off. What time is it? Christ, it's 20 to 12. Listen, thank you for tuning in. It's been good fun. All 812 of you today. That's great. A big improvement. I think we had a few hundred or a couple of hundred last time. So remember to tell all your friends. Please press the like button. if you've enjoyed what we've done tonight. Please look at all the videos. There's over 300 on there, all tutorials. All the paperwork is free. Don't forget, there's nothing on this channel that you pay for. It's all free. The donations, however, are very welcome, and it pays for water and the straw that takes your eye out. No tea, no coffee. So thank you for all them, and they are appreciated. Remember, this live stream will stay up for a while, so all the things that we've discussed, you can always go back and have another look at it, or share it to your chums. All right. The next thing I'm going to do, I'll be putting the. I've been repeating the masterclasses, the ones that I did originally. The final one, Masterclass 8, is going to go up on Wednesday, and that is going to go over the cage system again. You know, that stuff about the C's and the D's. It's already on there, but you'd have to go back and look for it. But I'm going to put it up again, and I'll be putting a new tutorial up again for something I haven't even thought yet. Where are we? Oh, you're welcome, Steve. I hope your tooth's feeling better. Keep smiling. What else have we got? Listen, some beautiful comments there, so thank you. About don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Well done, dee dee dee. Don't worry. Oh, don't worry. Be happy. Da da bum. Don't know the word. Da ba bum. Da dee da da ba ba. Be happy. Anyway, that was somebody said don't worry, be happy, so there we go. What else have we got? Missed the first bit. Well, listen, don't worry if you missed the first bit, you can go and watch it again. Right, Lynn's here. I'm going to go down now and have a cup of tea. I'm teaching in the morning, 8 o'clock, don't you know? Such is my popularity. So thank you very much for joining me. I've really enjoyed your company tonight. It's been great fun. Any suggestions you have, either for a tutorial for the that I'm doing, or for the next live stream, anything you're not sure of, then feel free to give me a bell. Right, on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'm going to ask the lovely Lynn to show me which button to press. Here she is. Look at her little face.
Hello.
She's had a drink, I can tell.
No, that one.
This one, stop streaming.
Yep.
All right. Listen, you take care of yourselves. See you later. Here she is. No show with that punch. Literally. Right, see you folks. Good night, God bless, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care of yourselves. Start streaming. Just press all the buttons. Jesus H. Christ. End it. She can't even aim it. I don't know. Hey, listen. It's probably still going here. I'm going to be careful what I say. I don't want to say anything that's out of... I've got a good mind to unplug the fucking mic. Let's see. All right, get off. Let's just turn everything off.
Let me
Hold on.
have a look. We'll have a look.